Hey everyone, so listen, I'm providing you with the calendar itself this month, and this is going to allow you to kind of tap into it on a daily basis whenever you need to look at the aspects coming up on our monthly forecast pertaining to your individual sign. I also go through some of the major aspects and the transits, as you know, but here we have the calendar itself, and so it will be easy for you to kind of bring up whenever you're looking at tomorrow's forecast, right? Now, before we start, let me just add though, for those of you who might come back several times a month to find out what's going on a specific date, right? How are you going to find those dates throughout this reading here on YouTube? What I would like to say is I spend approximately 2 minutes on each date. So find a date just arbitrarily, and then you can count X amount of minutes to find the closest timing to listen to the specific date that you're looking for. All right, just so you have that as a tip in the back of your mind, all right? So we're looking at September 2017, and we're starting off Friday the 1st, and we have Mars there in aspect to Chiron. Now, this is a day where it's going to allow us a little bit to kind of look at what is going on with our emotions. Chiron is the wounded healer, as we know, right? So there might be some action on or pertaining to situations of the past, right? And so Mars is really wanting to dig in and see how can we heal an old wound, right? Either within ourselves, but it could also be with somebody around you. Since there's so many ongoing aspects, I'm only going to go to the major ones, but they're on Friday 1st. The moon here is sextiling Neptune. The moon is our emotions, right? And Neptune is our hopes and dreams, our imagination, anything spiritual. We might feel inclined and inspired to do some more meditation, do some yoga, do some arts, painting, sculpting, dancing, music, whatever it is, but it really brings us closer to that higher dimensional self. Then we also have the conjunction of Pluto with the moon, and of course this takes us a couple of notches deeper. Now, Pluto has that ability to really get to the core of any matter, where we feel those intense powerful and also passionate feelings. Now, I experienced many times that if we don't use that Pluto when the moon is conjuncted or opposed it, then those energies might just internalize. They'll go inwards, and then we just find out that we're totally tired. We might feel drained and need to sleep or whatnot, or just be within ourselves, our own space, and especially since there's all that spiritual energy going on with Neptune. But if you're choosing to use your Pluto, you can achieve a lot today. You can really start a huge project, right? Which Pluto can give you all that power and energy to go for it, and especially in anything artistic. So that is good. Pluto gives us a lot of power, but like I said, if you're not going to use it, you might just feel how this tidal wave of emotions might just want you to go to bed, take a nap, all right? But then on Saturday, the 2nd, the moon being in Capricorn, like it was there on the 1st, it's going to transit into Aquarius there at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. But Mars is kicking up a storm with Uranus. Mars is your direct actions. It's your physical energy. It's your goal orientation. Coming together with Uranus can really bring something unexpected, right? And Uranus always tends to think outside of the box. It's unconventional. It's full downloads of inspiration. It's non-linear like Mercury. It's the higher octave of Mercury, where Mercury thinks, one word after the other, building up a sentence. Uranus comes to us in beautiful visions. We can see it all at once. So if you're working on a project, you might be able to today see both the beginning, the middle, and the end of that project all at once. This is going to allow you to really move forward quickly, energetically. Now, the moon is square off on Jupiter. Jupiter loves to expand anything it touches, but the moon today, being square to Jupiter, you might be considering your emotions. Do you feel like expanding outwardly? I would like to say yes, because of the beautiful situation here with Mars and Uranus. But then again, it might be some choices or decisions you're going to have to make. Maybe you're going to have to put a priority aside, say like a date or something. Why? Because you're really kicking dust on your project. So yes, definitely an emotional type decision here Saturday. It is also sextiling Chiron, so it is a day where using your emotions into something that you have faith and believe in can heal certain things. I also sense that by the moon squaring off on Uranus, well, that's just going to give you an extra stress factor. You're already stressed. Why? Because you're so focused on wanting to get this whatever project done today that it will stress you if somebody's trying to get or need your attention. Maybe this is why the moon and Jupiter too is needing to make that decision. Maybe you're going to have to say no to somebody today because you're wanting to complete whatever it is you've started. Now, September 3rd, it is Sunday. The moon is in Aquarius, so that gives us the ability to feel and think outside of the box. We're really full of genius ideas today, especially now with Mercury conjuncting Mars. It's following up that Marsy energy from yesterday. So communication today might be very focused, very pinpointed, short but to the point. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of time to just sit and lollygag. All right, I think you're still focused on the project you started yesterday. And this shows too where you're just going to have to tackle a half situation there with the moon and Saturn in a half square. So yeah, you're balancing today, definitely balancing your emotions too. The moon being opposed to Venus. It's like you're knowing that this is what you're wanting to do. You might feel a little self-centered, right? And again, I think it's due to something you're working on. And then on the other hand, well, you're kind of getting that feeling that you need to show some attention, share some of your energy with the loved ones around you. So today, it's pretty much a balance, and just be careful that you're not coming across maybe too short with that Mercury and Mars. Labor Day, September 4th. This is Monday, so we have a long weekend here. The moon's still being in Aquarius. So yes, you're kind of really getting out of your comfort zone, unless you are in Aquarius yourself. We're all feeling this Aquarian energy. You're feeling pretty good, okay? So today, at least, you're doing things here with family or parents and so forth. Moon and Saturn is mom and dad too, right? But it is also you as parents, mom and dad, for your children. I'm also feeling that this is a day where you're going to include friends. Jupiter is there. The moon and Jupiter, beautiful alignment. So it is with Saturn and Uranus. So today you're going to have a great time. Maybe that's why you were so busy on getting stuff done on Saturday. So maybe you could take off that weekend, Sunday and Monday. On the 5th, we have the moon moving early in the morning, 1:30 a.m., from Aquarius into Pisces. So now this is going to allow us to kind of feel more Piscean. We've been Aquarian these last few days, right? But now we're Piscean. We're extra sensitive, emotionally, spiritually, romantically too, and not to mention also creatively. We're back to work. The sun is opposing Neptune. Today we want to be very clear on our communications of what is going around us with our peers, co-workers, and so forth. There could easily be a misunderstanding because we're not really hearing too intently. Maybe we're still in vacation mode, right? It's just so we don't have to clear things up later on. But it could cause a little bit of a hiccup. Not only is the sun opposed Neptune, but we got the moon opposing Mars. And it's squaring off on Pluto too. So whenever the moon and Pluto, well, not square, it's a semi-square. It's 45 degrees. That can bring some intensity into the picture. So if there is a misunderstanding, we just want to be a little careful that we don't get any arguments, disagreements of that nature going on due to something like a misunderstanding. So clear it up, guys. Now on the 6th, we have a full moon, and it is Wednesday. Full moon in Pisces, guys. Now this is really going to allow you to totally feel how Pisceans feel. You're full of emotions. You're romantic, you're dreamy, you're creative, you're full of empathy, and maybe your psychic energies are really flaring up, your higher chakras there, especially because not only is the moon in Pisces, but it's conjunct Neptune. So that's the ruler of Pisces. This makes it super, super sensitive. I would say for those of you who are spiritually growing and advancing, take time today to meditate, all right? The full moon also brings us a lot of what we worked for ever since the new moon last month. So now we can start seeing a harvest from it. And if you made good choices, great intentions under that new moon, well, I think you're just going to love what could surface for you. I think it might even surprise you in many ways, or maybe that of surprising others. We also have a sextile to Pluto with the moon. Now this, as of yesterday, it was kind of a little bit more in an iffy place, but today it's all good. If there was any situations going on yesterday, well, today Pluto can heal it. This is something we always need to remember when it comes to Pluto, because Pluto is the magician. He is the healer. I mean, you could have a huge argument, and if Pluto kicks in, you can kiss and make up as if that argument never, ever took place. And it's amazing. So whenever Pluto is used in a great way, it's got this laser focus, right? And it has that power to heal. I'm really happy to see that. So your moon right now is feeling really good about transforming, rebirthing, right? Your emotions, which is good, especially in something that could have been a little bit of a test here just as of earlier, because it is squaring Saturn, so you might be looking at something that karmically might have been touching you, but today is a great opportunity to move forward with that. On the 7th, the moon still being in Pisces, it's going to move into fiery Aries there at 8 a.m. in the morning, right? So on your way to work, coming in, you're going to feel the shift from having been in this very creative, dreamy space. Now you're more all on board to get things done. You're up and running. The moon is in a great place. I feel today that it's just alignment. That's all I can say. Both with healing aspects, communication. I feel with Mars too, you're just very focused on the things that you're needing to do as far as work goes. Friday the 8th, well, yes, we can see that this is going to be a day that's going to be quite romantic for you. The moon and Venus, beautifully aligned in a golden trine. So that's your inner self. It's your reflections. It's how you feel. It's how you react. How is that going to be? Well, with Venus here, golden trine, you're going to feel like you are $1 million today. I see you beaming. You're gorgeous. You're beautiful. You're handsome. So it's also a good money day, but also as far as romance, you can expect things to turn a little passionate in towards the evening. I feel that you can go places where maybe in the past you hadn't wanted to express. Maybe you've been holding some issues back that you'd like to speak about with your partner. Well, today might be just one of those good days, or should I say evenings, to bring a certain sensitive topic to the surface. And I feel you could be very lucky in doing so. Why? Because the outcome of it allows you to feel that you're finding your feet, you're finding a new foundation. And being in this Marsy energy, Mars being the ruler of the Aries, you're speaking very directly. You're not beating around the bush. You're actually really pinpointing the core of the matter at hand. Now this sets you up for Saturday night. Today, I feel that you're waking up, you're feeling really good about Friday night, thinking that yes, things have come together. You have been able to release and express those things that you were thinking about for a while, and now you're going to immediately start seeing some reactions to it and where it's taking you. It's giving a new perspective today, and I feel the outlook that you're seeing, it's giving you a different perspective as far as viewpoint. This is the moon and Jupiter. So you're feeling that you're covering a whole lot of grounds that is giving you a whole lot of, I'd like to say, hope. All right? Hope taking those new steps forward. And you'll realize that what you were fearing to bring up and discuss with your partner yesterday was nothing to fear at all. Actually, what it's done, it's turned, you know, a new leaf in your book over to a new page. And I feel that, yes, there's going to be more follow-up, more communication, and in a very positive way where you can cover a whole lot of grounds, where there's a lot of laughter in the picture, you know, and so absolutely, this is a time where you can be quite dynamic and a very, very fun evening. Now, the moon is moving out of Aries into Taurus right afternoon there at 12:23 p.m. So into the evening tonight here of Saturday, this is going to be a grand time for you to go out, maybe have a great dinner, go to a dance, spend time with friends, and a lot of passion here. For those of you who are in a relationship, if you are single, well, hey, you might just meet somebody here today that you could really feel that you're attuned with. Saturday the 10th. Well, we got the moon here in Taurus, so you're feeling like Taurians do. You want to have a good sense of self, your self-worth. It's also the values that you hold. It's security oriented. Taurians are really good about feeling what they need to have a solid foundation. So these days, while the moon is cruising through Taurus, it allows you this time in this month to really look at your needs. What are they? Are you happy with what you have? Do you need to shore up money situations? How's your income looking? Those kind of things I feel is going to be very prioritized these days. It is Sunday right now, and the moon will be sextiling Neptune. This is a day for doing fun, the things that you enjoy. It's such a spiritual energy, too. Neptune always rules our higher chakras, right? So this could be a time to dream. Maybe you will wake up with a beautiful dream, inspiring you to set off on a new journey here this morning, because not only is that dream spiritual and opening up like a new chapter in your book of life, but having the power from Pluto in this beautiful trine, I feel it's transformative. Whatever it is you're envisioning, whatever you're dreaming about, if you're meditating, you might have beautiful visions. This is really, really supporting you and your sense of self, as is also the support of your financial security as well. It's beautifully aligned also to the sun. So today, I gotta say, this is great. If you can take off the time, your challenge today might be, for some of you, not all of you, but maybe for some of you, to find a little time to take off, to go into your meditation room, if you have one, to find a little time for yourself, a little me time, so that you can get in touch with these beautiful, spiritual, transformative energies. So we're moving right along, and we're looking at Monday. It's a new week, guys, and the moon will be moving out of Taurus, so we want to wave goodbye and thank it for allowing us to get in touch with those more primordial needs, those physical needs. And now we're moving into more of a mental state for the next few days when the moon is transiting through the sign of Gemini. Now, Gemini is all about communication. It's the way we talk, it's the way we present, it's the way we carry ourselves, it's conversations that we're having. It will move into Gemini at 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon, and will remain there until that of Wednesday night. But here this Tuesday, well, you know, I'm feeling what you are going to be focusing on, what you might find yourself communicating about, is how can I shore up more of the security matters that I was thinking about this weekend. All right, because there's an aspect to Saturn. Saturn always looks out for us to really put down our anchors, to structure us so that we can get that long-term security of what we are needing in our lives. We always need to think about Saturn as longevity, the long-term picture, right? It's also our karmic protector as well. So you might be looking at your emotions. You really got in touch with a lot of depth yesterday, and you're thinking, how can I protect this? How can I cultivate it? How can I expand it? That's Jupiter coming in today. How can I expand these beautiful visions? Why? Because the moon is also in a sextile to Chiron. So I feel that you touched upon things yesterday on the 10th, which is really allowing you now to integrate. And that's what healing is all about. It's not enough just to have, a clear thought and like, okay, clear thought about the past, right? We really need to embed it. We need to integrate it for that healing to really take place and give it a good foundation. So I can see how you might be speaking or talking about this, and I think that is going to help you with whoever you're communicating with in the late afternoon coming into the evening about your experiences there on the 10th. Well, that can point you in some direction that you could actually take, because the moon and Mars, they're squared. So there's a challenge. Now, challenges can be stressful, but they don't have to be negative stress. There's good stress. It means we're kicking into action. We're doing something about it. We're not just sitting there and going, oh, okay, right? We're thinking, okay, I want to move this. I want to take some action and embed this. So this is a very powerful day here, September 11th. And of course, it's also Memorial Day here for September 11th. So we might want to take a little minute or more and think about the families and what went down with those towers. On the 12th, we have Mercury in an aspect to Pluto. It's not a powerful one. It's more one of those that will linger on the edges of our consciousness. It's more like the whisper from your inner depth, where Pluto is saying, you're healing, you're moving on, you're transforming. Pay attention to your thoughts, monitor your thoughts, see where your thoughts are going. So this whisper from the deep within, Pluto can really now start giving you a sense and a feel that the integration, the embedding that you're doing is starting to take on shape and form on very subtle levels, but also powerful. But you're feeling good today here, guys. Venus, which is our love that we hold in our hearts, in our spirit, in our mind, in our consciousness, it is really getting a lot of beautiful support here from its friend Saturn. Saturn is so beautiful. It's such a magnificent planet in our lives because it secures us. And for those who tend to not like Pluto and resist Pluto, because Pluto gives us lessons, life lessons. They may not always be easy, but if we step back from lessons in life, what we resist will persist, right? So I gotta say it right straight up front. Befriend Saturn. Allow Saturn to be one of your trusted guides. He'll never lead you down a wrong road. We can lead ourselves down a wrong road, but Saturn will always be that little whisper of consciousness if you're wavering off the track, that will say, are you really sure you want to do this? Do you know the consequences of this? So he's that whisper, right? But today, what he's saying, just like Pluto was whispering to you that healing is occurring from old wounds, Saturn is saying today, aren't you happy? You deserve to be happy today. You've earned it. Now, that's one thing with Saturn. We have to earn his respect, right? And Venus being in such a beautiful alignment. Venus is our love. It's our consciousness. It's how we give and share ourselves to everyone around us. Well, yes, we can feel now that if there was any at all small barriers, like a little guard of self-protection somewhere, today it feels safe to let that guard down and just trust, right? Because that's what healing is. We overcome our wounds, right? And we let our guards down. Today, Saturn's saying it's safe. Trust it. Trust it. Trust. So that inner communication, when the moon is in Gemini, it's all about communication, right? Externally with others, but it's also that internal communication, how we talk to ourselves, right? This is beautiful days, guys, to write down your journal, get a dream journal or whatnot. Follow your thoughts, because when you monitor them, like from day to day or on a weekly basis, you can be very surprised down the road, weeks from now, even months from now, or even years, when you kind of go back over and you could read what you were processing, what you were working on. Wow, what a delight to see the growth that you will then have had between now and then. The moon also is whispering to you from Neptune, and Neptune is saying, don't forget about being creative. You know, don't forget about finding that me self, because you're busy here. And Neptune will always function best when we pay attention to it. When we don't pay attention to Neptune, Neptune can get very muddled, okay? It really can put us into pitfalls and so forth. It's like we'll sink in the swamp or in the quicksand, right? Or we can't see because there's all this fog going on, right? Like a little boat out there in the open ocean, can't see the coast because of the fog. Now, because of you're feeling really good and you've achieved certain things, the moon, the aspect to Neptune today is saying, you know, keep your eyes open. You've achieved thus far, you know, make an agreement, make a contract now with yourself to listen to those things that you've healed. Just because you're feeling good today, don't throw it to the winds tomorrow. So it's actually like a little sticker coming from Neptune to remind you, to remind us, don't forget about your spiritual advancement and growth, to pay attention to it every day, because it's so easy to get lost in that wheel of life. Now, when those thoughts will occur to you at some point throughout this day, as soon as it occurs to you, you're going to see how Uranus is going to kick into action and go, whoa, yeah, I really do want to do that. Why? Because it keeps me going. It keeps me thinking outside of the box. It keeps me enthusiastic. It keeps me open to embrace whatever unexpected change can come in. You know, if we don't have change in life, we stifle, right, with the same old routines. And we really want change to come in that can always give us that feeling that we're alive, right? So yes, so those two things of spiritual messages to you today will allow you to continue what you were working on here earlier. But here we have Wednesday 13th. The moon this evening will be leaving us here in Gemini, moving into sensitive, nurturing sign of Cancer. Okay, so we're going to be sensitive for the next 3 days, all right? We've been all in our brain, we've been in our mind, we've been listening to all that inner chatter, and we've spent a lot of time just being very externally busy with the moon in Gemini. But now, as we turn our focus more to our needs, our emotional needs, and the needs of those around us, well, okay, so we've been able to cater to our inner self, or higher self, but here now, your focus is going to be more so on, well, I really need to do something to set something right. So it's more, I feel, mundane chores today might take up your focus. Things that need to be structured, whether it is a project at home, it could be something like your vehicle needs to have a tune-up. Anything that takes you away from your higher spiritual inner chatter is all due to mundane things. So we have those days as well. So that might kind of like throw you off a little bit, because you've really been cruising for several days in your higher mind. But now, yes, do what is called for you to do. You might find a little resistance in it, the sun being square Saturn, moon being opposite Saturn. And so you're like, just want to keep surfing, right? But listen, whenever this happens, we got to remember, Falcons, that we have a mundane, three-dimensional life experience, right? Spiritually, we're always free, but in this dimension, where our physical body resides with all the whatever physical, practical things that we need to do, it will take us a little bit off of our track. But the thing is, you always want to remember, though, that you can always access your higher mind, instead of like, okay, having to go do your chores and be irritated or resisting it. It's like, I gotta wash that floor, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Wash that floor while you're meditating. Bring your meditation along with you. Got to fix the car? Sure. Crawl under the car, fix that car while you're meditating. Because there's so much, and this is what we always need to recall, is that we are, to a very high degree percentage, all on autopilot. We know how to wash the floor. We don't have to consciously think, now I got to wring that cloth, right? You'll automatically wash it because you know how to do it. So you can separate your mind from the doing in the physical 3D realm, and you can go to a beautiful place in your consciousness. So it's like driving a car. You don't have to be conscious of driving because your subconsciousness, your autopilot knows how to drive. You can release your higher mind and meditate. So if you're sitting in traffic, don't allow it to frustrate you. Drive on your autopilot, be aware, but you can use that time to meditate. This is the message I think you're getting today because you've been cruising so beautifully and now you're feeling it's coming to a dead halt because the world is calling you back. But the moon's aspect to Venus today is say, love yourself. Be at one with yourself. Regardless of the chores that I have today, love myself enough to feel joy and happiness and expansion. Beautiful aspect there to Jupiter too. Beautiful aspect to Uranus. So we're finding that, yes, we can work on a 3D dimensional, physical, practical level, but yes, we can still be aware of our beautiful, spiritual, interdimensional self and keep that going. We don't have to go into a meditation room and shut the door to meditate. We can meditate as we work. That's the major thing that I feel here September 13th is going to give you, and it is in the sign, and it will come to you pretty much there into the evening because it's all about nurturing and really to be in order to nurture, serve, give to others like the Cancerians do. We're going to have that with us for the next 3 days, all of us, regardless of what sign we are. In order to really be a good nurturer, to have something to give, we have to fill ourselves so we continuously have something to give so that we don't go on empty. I want you to think about that here as the moon transits over the next few days in the sign of Cancer. Yes, see yourself nurturing everybody else's needs, but not forgetting about yourself. Got to nurture yourself. So on the 14th, I see that some magic took place. Yesterday was a little frustrating because you got stuck in the world's chores. Got to do this, got to do, and feeling that it was eating away. Today, though, it's like you got the message of, I can do any chore that is required of me, no matter what it is. I can go out and dig out dirt, I can pull up weeds. Doesn't matter what it is. I can still meditate and be at bliss, and it's all about following bliss. Here on the 14th, moon is so nice with Mercury's way of you communicating to yourself. You're having happy thoughts. You're nurturing yourself with happy, balanced thoughts. And this allows you more energy to give happy, balanced, nurturing thoughts to others. The moon beautifully aligned there to Mars. So you're seeing it's working. We got to follow our bliss, what makes us happy. And regardless, if the world is crumbling around us, to be happy, we have to choose to be happy. It's a choice. It's a mental choice. Now, this moon will be challenged by Venus, like saying, are you able to hold your frequency? Can you hold that frequency up? If so, yes. And here you've got all that support from Neptune, which is like an open pipeline. It's your higher chakras, totally open in your crown there, to listen to your higher self, not just your conscious self, because we're like 90% ruled by our subconsciousness, 10% conscious, but then our higher self, conscious, is a totally different consciousness. When the pipeline is open like it is now with the moon and Neptune, my goodness, as you are cruising throughout this day today, I feel that you could be filled with visions of joy, strength, happiness, beauty. And in that, it's like you're collecting those things that work for you, that you want to hold close to heart, and also still, I feel, letting go of those things that don't really pertain to you. Now, we had that lunar eclipse in August, right? So we all got rid of the things that no longer pertain to us in our evolution, right? So that we can open up for new rooms. And that's what the solar eclipse on August 21st gave us. And so that solar eclipse is still working. Both those eclipses, they're still working in our consciousness. They're downloading those things that we're feeling. So here on the 14th, the moon's opposition to Pluto, if we work it really good, we're conscious of the energy, we can accomplish. If not, it makes us tired. Just like the moon, whenever it comes into conjunction to Pluto, we can become tired because why? It collapses inwardly instead of taking it out. If we're using this good, I feel today is going to help you to continue to let go of those patterns. It could be thought patterns. It could be physical patterns that the lunar eclipse was trying to eliminate last month. You could become conscious of it today, either by continuing that release, perhaps. That could be emotionally, right? Or it could be you now getting a vantage point from a higher perspective to look at how far you've come since the lunar eclipse and feeling great about it, because this is a very powerful day of feeling that you have achieved a lot since those eclipses took place. Friday, we have Venus and Jupiter. They are sextile. These two are the best friends together. They just love each other's company. Venus says to Jupiter, what do you want to do today? And Jupiter is saying, whatever you want to do today. So they're kind of fighting in such a sisterly, beautiful friendship way of let's just have fun. Let's just go do what where pleasure is found, right? It's a romantic day because of Venus, of course. Jupiter is going to want to expand that. We might find ourselves wanting to go out and splurge a little bit, since both of them rule money too. So it could be a great day. And since the moon is in Cancer, well, you're going to still might want to indulge a little bit here for yourself or for your family, to friends. Maybe you're wanting to put up, a feast for them. This evening. Now, the moon will go from Cancer into the sign of Leo at 9 p.m., actually 9:09 p.m. tonight. So talking about a feast, if you're thinking about hosting a party, it is going to be a great party for family, friends, which is Cancer, and then Leo allowing you to be the greatest host or hostess with a wonderful party. I'm seeing that conversation can go really well. There is a lot of great attention coming in. So this leads us then to Saturday, 16th, moon in Leo. So it's all about centering on the I am. You could say, well, we were just talking about moon in Cancer to nurture self. That is also the I am. But see, the sun in Leo is different. That's the consciousness of I am here. So you're kind of like centerpiece. We all are feeling a little bit more centerpiece. We're wanting a little bit more attention, not saying we can't give it, because Leos are really, really warm, right? Great hosts and hostesses and everything. But yeah, there is like a center stage today. This is Mercury and Mars. I feel communication is high lit. You can find yourself communicating a whole lot of whatever the theme might be. Could be different from each of you depending on your own star sign, but it is energetically pointed. September 17th, yes, we have one of our last days now to experience that moon in Leo, that we're all the lion or the lioness, right? So yes, we are feeling that we're putting ourselves out there in the limelight, and it's doing pretty well. We got the moon in Saturn, so if you really did your work there yesterday, you might feel a sense of accomplishment here today. Saturn will give you that, and not only have you accomplished something here today, but you could also get some really nice feedback and kudos from Jupiter, which is always very abundant. And when we speak about abundance, abundance is in everything. Why? Because the universe is abundance. There's no lack in the universe, ever, is there? The universe is full of everything there is, and we are part of that ism. And when the moon and Jupiter comes together, we're looking at our abundance. Now, abundance could be love. Abundance can be self-worth. Abundance can be our children. Abundance can be money. Even in our lacks, if there's lacking anywhere, you could say, well, there's no abundance if there's lack, but oh yes, there could be. There's a lot of abundance in lack too. We can lack in abundance, right? So yeah, we always want to look at what really abundance is to us in our life, and especially now with the moon there in Leo, we're looking at ourselves, right? And what it is we have. How can we radiate? How can we shine? So I'm feeling that most of us, with the Saturn's influence here today and Jupiter being so positive, we're feeling really good about ourselves. Again, I'd like to just reflect back to the eclipses of August, that we're really starting to see it taking on shape and form, how well those eclipses are doing for us. So we have now September 18th, the moon is moving into Virgo here just after midnight, so early morning, 0:53 a.m. Now this day, it's a new work week, and Venus and Uranus beautifully aligned. They are ready to chime. This is a day of action. It's also a day of surprises, the unexpected, okay? This is what we love when these two planets meet up. Why? Because if it's about love, well, then we can get something out of the blue from our loved one or loved ones, right? And it's not expected unless you have your birthday today and then receiving some form of gifts. But I feel it's more so that it's an emotion. It's some words coming to you or some action coming to you. If you've been waiting for some confirmation, well, today could be a great day to get some confirmation that can kick you into action, because not only do we have the surprise factor of Uranus, but we got the moon, how you react, and how are you going to be reacting to this surprise? Well, the moon is conjunct Mars. You're going to be jumping up and down energetically. I can see you right now. Really just wanting to take action, go for it. And I feel you're going to be on the phone or on your text messaging today, spreading the news of whatever it is that came your way. Whatever windfall, you're going to be spreading it and sharing it. On the 19th, this moon in Virgo here between the 18th and 20th, it allows us to feel the way Virgos feel in their everyday normal life, right? And for those of you who don't really know what Virgo represents, it's all about being so organized in our mind as we are also in our external lives. Virgos love to not just think things through, but they can also at times overthink, right? Because they, I won't say worries a lot, sometimes they do, but it is because when we use a lot of mental energy in trying to be or trying to perfect the things that we're doing, then yes, we can go into overdrive sometimes. But this is the time of the month, these 3 days, for us to look at how can we improve our life, how can we become more efficient, how can we organize, strategize those things. And so you might feel that these days are really good days at the office to reorganize your desk and so forth, or go in, clean out your refrigerator. There's probably stuff in the back there that needs to go, right? It's cleanup time. And Virgo energy is really good for doing exactly just that. But the 19th, it's a great day in form of passionate feelings. Now, passion isn't just always physical. You know, it's very transformational. It's those deep felt inner core emotions. So something's going to trigger you today, and it might have to do with a situation that could have been a little of a hiccup, maybe, won't say necessarily a misunderstanding, but it could be that too. But where you can clarify if there has been a misunderstanding, whether between you and your partner or anybody else important around you, I feel that you're going to get the energy to just cut through, not linger, not allow it to fester, you know, but actually to take hold of it and say, hey, hold on a minute, let's talk about this. You're going to confront it. And I'm not saying confront it in a bad way, but in a very to the point way where you're not really willing to just let it go. You know, because then it will just keep adding to it instead of solving itself. Today you really want to solve whatever it is if you felt that your feelings got a little hurt. On the 20th, early in the morning, the moon is going to be moving out of Virgo into Libra. Virgo at 6 a.m., 6:06 a.m. In fact, we can wave goodbye. It's going to be a whole month before we get these energies to really clear up and become more efficient and perfect our lives like we've been hosting here now under Virgo. Now it's all about balancing it up with the moon in Libra. Libra is always about wanting to see everything from both sides, all right? So it's not always easy to make choices when we're in the sign of Libra. Now, this is just the moon, but this is also true when the sun is in Libra for a whole month, right? And it is because Libra also always wants to see things from both sides. It's like looking at a menu, can't make up your mind because everything looks good, and then you sit there back and forth, back and forth. Typical Libra, right? What do I choose? If I choose this, then I don't get that. But if I choose that, I won't get this. So over the next few days, just pay attention. It's a little curious, you know, for those of you who are new to this, to just feel how it is to follow the moon. In your decisions here emotionally, Libra rules everything about relationships, you know, the 7th house and whatnot. But yeah, it's finding the midpoint. So you don't have to go from the one extreme to the other. It doesn't always have to be either or. Now, if you can't make up your mind, choose both. If you're out eating, having a nice dinner, you can't make make up your mind between an appetizer and an entree, well, take them both. Take the rest home. That kind of thing. Find your midpoint. Also in your discussions, this is what we're going to see here between the 20th and 22nd, that we're in our communications with people around us. And this is between Wednesday and Friday, that it's all about centering, all right? It's also the new moon, which is taking place 1:30 in the morning. And the new moon will be in the sign of Virgo, and but it will move into that of Libra by the time you get up in the morning. But this new moon, well, it's time to put down our intentions. And what should that be? Well, since it's still, even though it's like way out there in the sign of Virgo, I would say, what did you learn these last few days about organizing, you know, so that you can work more efficiently, right? Getting all your ducks in a row, clearing things up, right? I would say that it would be a good thing to actually bring as an intention, promise that I'm going to be better about, you know, clearing this up maybe once a week instead of once a month, right? To be on top of things so things don't pile up. There is actually a sense of luxury when we get this working for us, right? It's all about just being conscious. Anyway, let's move on. We got the 21st of September, the moon fully loaded into Libra there, and not too many things going on. There is a little bit. The moon here is squaring off on Pluto, so there might be an issue at hand where we may not react to it, even though the moon is very reactive. It always rules how we react, right? Whereas the sun shows us what we're acting to, the moon reacts. But Pluto, there might be something that's not sitting totally right with us. So the challenge today is, are we going to do something about it, or are we going to let it pass? Now, when we approach things head on, directly, and don't procrastinate, we move through our situations, issues, whatnot, much easier and with a sense of glory, right? And the moon's aspect to Saturn today will allow you to have that awareness to actually go do it and don't procrastinate, even though Venus says, well, you know, I'm not really up to it. I just want to take it a little easy today. Venus loves leisure, right? Venus loves all the fun things. So there might be something that may not feel like it's too much fun to do, but Saturn can give you the get-go to get it done. And maybe it only takes 5 minutes. So instead of passing something that's sitting out on your table, maybe for days on end, and not moving it, it might just take you those few minutes to just do it already, right? And then, wow, what a feeling of luxury, right? And it brings our scales, those Libra scales, back to harmony. Think about Libra too, that really loves beauty. So it's a time to really shape things up at home, get your feng shui up and running, maybe move your art around. It's a time for you to dive into art if you are artistic. So yeah, you can get a good feel of it. Now here today on the 22nd, it's autumn equinox. So yes, we're changing. It's that cycle of the year, right? Plus the moon will be moving us out of the consciousness of Libra to the depths of Scorpio. Okay, so we're going to have a few days where we're going to be able to embrace that Scorpion energy. And for those of you who are Scorpio, you're going to be feeling really at home, right? This is your normal energy. For the rest of us, we get to embody your energy here for these few days, which we do every month, right? I mean, we advance from one sign to the other every few days. For those of you who are new to astrology, once you start paying attention to these cycles, you'll see how your consciousness shifts every few days. You know, either we're up there in the mental levels or we're down here in the depths of our emotions, right? Or we're out there doing practical things. This is what this calendar can really help you to focus on. So 1:41 in the afternoon p.m. The moon will be in Scorpio. We're starting out this day here on the equinox with Mercury trining Pluto. So that's our communication, guys. Mercury is always how we communicate and how we think in the linear terms, right? Now, Pluto will always be a point of transformation. So today we're going to be really focusing on how can I transform my day today? You know, with who? In which situation? There is a situation that's going to present itself to you. And I feel that this is a day where you're going to communicate very precisely, very clear. Always think about Pluto being like your laser weapon. It cuts straight to the core, you know, beyond layers and layers and layers, all the way in. So it's a day of achievement. It's really a day you could be proud of. Why? Because you're exerting also your physical energy, and your goals are all pointing towards it. Mars is here in a great aspect to your moon, how you're feeling and reacting. And to top it off, the moon is also conjuncting Jupiter. So there's this joy, this happiness, this exuberance here in your nature. You're feeling generous. Maybe the universe is being generous with you too, right? So there's expansion today in our emotional fields. And I feel it has to do with whatever it is you're initiating, whatever you're beginning, something new today. This is when you're going to start seeing some response to it. Now, Saturday, 23rd, we have Mars and Jupiter. I feel there's a slight challenge, not a huge challenge. It's only a half square. So I feel in that sense, well, you might challenge yourself to go out and do something. There might be a slight resistance because the moon is also squaring off there on, not squaring off, semi-squaring off on Saturn. So there might be a little resistance because Mars really wants to go and play and have fun. That's what Jupiter likes. But then here comes chores. So there might be a family member needing you to do something, you know, to structure something. I mean, it is the weekend, and for a lot of people, that is when they can catch up on home, family-related projects and so forth. So, but what I would say to that is choose to have fun while you're doing the chore. Remember how we were talking about it is fully we're fully able to meditate and go to our happy spot in our mind while we're doing mundane things, right? That really takes the edge off of feeling that we have to do. Then it becomes delightful. We're doing it because we want to do it, right? So I see that once you hang of it, that you remind yourself, remember one of those sticky notes, to remind yourself you can always have fun doing whatever chore it is. It's a mindset. Once you remember this here today, later in the afternoon, your moon is going to kick into Mars here and say, hey, you know what? This is a piece of cake. I'm doing it effortlessly. Things are coming to me effortlessly. My projects are getting completed effortlessly. You know, and it is because the moon also is trining Neptune. That was the reminder, that sticky note, that don't forget to be spiritual in everything you do, everything you encounter. No matter if there's a storm, you can still find that center peace of your inner tranquility, right? Your inner equilibrium. So this is a great day. It's also a very passionate day. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of physical passion that can be anything Scorpio. We put our love and divine energy into. So Sunday 24th, yes, here we are encountering early morning Mars opposing Neptune. Okay, so you might just feel drawn in two directions today. You might have, again, things that you need to do as opposed to what you want to do. Neptune is calling you today to do something artistic, to do something maybe spiritual, some practice, or go to yoga. And so you might have to spread yourself a little bit, but it's doable. I feel communication is running really genuine, very open between you and those you care for today. Mercury's in a great position for you to express your emotions, especially those things that run a little deeper in consciousness, perhaps. And then we have on the 25th, a new week. We're talking about the last week here of September. Early, right after midnight on the 25th, the moon is moving into Sagittarius, and I'd like to say that look forward to it, because that Sag energy, for those of you who are Sagittarius, you're going to have double whammy energy these next few days. For the rest of us, we get to really get in a good infusion of that Jupiterian energy of enthusiasm, optimism, abundance, joy, happiness, sense of humor, physical energy that can go out. So you're starting off this week with that in mind. You're feeling invigorated and you're ready to take things on head on. For those of you who are going to have an important meeting today, you might have worried a little bit about it, but don't. I'm sensing that the energy around you, you're going to be able to focus in on those things that are important to you. The moon and Venus here, there's a little challenge because you're looking at what your worth is, what you're needing, right? But the moon is helping you to look at what it is you deserve as well. But the challenge is you might be talking to somebody in power today. And so you want to be gentle with it. You don't want to push or force anything. You want to be really open to listen to whatever opportunities that might arise today. Now on the 26th, Tuesday, it's not too much going on. I feel you might feel a little lost because yesterday might not have brought any results, at least not yet. But I feel that, you're antsy. You're definitely antsy. And I feel you're on course for reaching those goals, those new horizons that you've set out to do. It's just a little test on patience, perhaps. We can't always get it when we want it. That's really hard, especially when the moon is in this fire sign of action, right? But it's all dependent on hearing back from whoever you were speaking with yesterday. If you were having any kind of presentation or whatnot, you might already, by the end of this workday, hear something. If not, definitely by the 27th, there on Wednesday. So Wednesday, 27th, this is a great time for you to really bring together your vision with your hopes and dreams, your idealism. I'm sensing that you're cruising here to expand who you are, the platform of what you're working for. It's also trusting. It's really having a lot of faith, especially if you haven't heard back from what you're waiting for, is to really endure, right? Jupiter will give you a sense. So listen to your intuition. Your feeling, your emotion, your intuition today is saying, just hang in there, because it's working behind the veil. Sometimes as human beings, we want that immediate satisfaction of hearing so that we can feel safe and sound. So we're not just like, dangling in the middle of any matrix, right? But this is a test on your faith. And I feel before the day is over here that this could be actually coming in where you're going to feel that much more secure. I see a door opening up. There's a key here. And we're changing signs. The moon is moving out of Sagittarius right after noon at 12:25 into the sign, the practical sign of Capricorn. Now, whenever we embody the Capricornian energy, we're very strategic, we're very grounded, we're very practical, right? We know what we want and what we don't want. Now, this transit just through Sagittarius last couple of days went really quick, maybe quicker than what we wanted. But then again, here now we're moving into the ability of Capricorn's energy working through us to manifest, to ground things, okay? So this is a great day for you with the moon beautifully aligned to both Venus and Mars and Pluto, okay? So anything you started there on Monday, here on the 25th, here on the 28th, you should have it at hand, okay? We're seeing results today. And definitely you are taking that strategy, looking at it, it's concrete, it's handfast, and you're looking at now where do I go with it, okay? So you know what you've achieved, and you definitely know where you're wanting to go with it, because here, Friday 29th, Venus is looking at Neptune, how you can be very creative with it, how can you push it, how can you expand it in your higher mind of all minds, right? Idealistically, this is today where you're knowing that you have a good thing in your hand and you don't want to waste it, which could absolutely be true for some of you, that you could just waste it. But for those of you really tuned in to whatever opportunity just landed on the 28th, here on the 29th, you might expand upon it. So I'd say don't kick into action yet. This is a time to think things through. And I would say take the whole weekend for it, because here's Saturday 30th, Venus and Jupiter is looking at possibilities of how you can grow financially as well. So think about it. The moon, your inner self, your inner reactions, your reflections, beautifully aligned to your linear way of thinking consequentially, right? Maybe even talking to right people that can give you insights today. So reach out, talk to people in the know, and great time for you to line up with your inner and outer self. And so we'll be seeing where this is going to go once we focus on October. So that's it, everyone. And I might just do this in October too. I'm not quite sure right now, but we'll see what this September calendar will do for you. All right. Have a good one, everyone. Bye now.